Hey everybody, welcome back to the Intentional Carnivore. Glad you guys could make it. If it's your first time, I want to welcome you all to the show. If you don't mind, go ahead and hit the like button, share it, invite someone real quick to watch with you. We have a special guest with us today, as you can see. I want to welcome Miss Lillie Kane to the show. I'm sure all of you guys are aware of who she is. And I'm trying not to fanboy out a little bit, to be honest with you. So thank you for being on the show today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat with you, with everybody else, answer some questions, and it's going to be great.
Absolutely. I've really been looking forward to it. I mean, I've been watching you, it's odd, like, what being able to speak to people that I've watched for I started in April of last year. So, like, watching you guys all, through the journey and then being able to speak with you, it's really humbling and amazing, honestly. So, um, we'll just I got some questions. I asked everybody as normal. If you have a question for Lillie, just put it, or me, either way, just put a Q by it in the comments, and we will get to you as soon as I can. Okay, and I appreciate it. So I was watching one of your videos recently, and you had talked about not calling what you do carnivore. And like, I don't care what people call how they eat. I call it the proper human diet or intentional carnivore, whatever. Um, I don't really think that's important. I think it's what we're putting in our bodies. But can you just explain for somebody who may not have seen your video on that, how your views on carnivore and like how that goes for you?
For sure. So when I first started making YouTube content, this is about 2.5-ish years ago when I made my first YouTube video about carnivore. And at the time, to be honest, I didn't even know I was eating a carnivore diet. Mm-hmm. I thought I was eating keto and I just didn't want to have vegetables. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm eating keto. And when I was going to post the YouTube video, my husband's like, well, technically, honey, it's called carnivore. So I just want you to make sure you change that in your title and how you talk about it, because people are going to assume you're eating carnivore since you don't have vegetables. And I was like, oh, okay. Because and that's I guess where it all began, is I just started posting content about what I was eating, but I never was I need to eat a carnivore diet. I need to eat this way to be healthy. I was just doing what made me feel really good, which was tasty, which had lots of vitamins and minerals and nutrients in it. And so when I first made my video, I had things like apple cider vinegar or lemon juice or seasonings and condiments. And at that time, 2.5 years ago, that was totally okay and fine. But then as the years have evolved, people would ask questions. Wait, mustard isn't carnivore. Lemons don't come from an animal. Hey, yeah, it doesn't. And it just got confusing for people, because I was saying that I was eating carnivore, which is more of like the Kelly Hogan, Laura Spath kind of carnivore diet. Like these late, they have coffee, they have seasonings, they have those little ancillary things. And that is totally okay if that works for people. So I ended up hearing actually from Dr. Sarah Zalvadar the word hypercarnivore for the first time, where she said that it's an animal whose diet is 70% or more animal foods. And I was like, oh, you know what? That is so simple. That is an easy way to explain it, because then if you have something that's not perfect carnivore, then you get that wiggle room. Well, the video you're referring to, I think, was something where I used the word hypercarnivore, and I actually haven't used that word in like a year now. So you probably watched an older video, but I was trying to use the word hypercarnivore to like make it stick. And I found it was just confusing more people, because the word you would think means extra carnivore, more strict. And it's the opposite. It's actually more flexible. So people were saying, you're using the word wrong. Lillie, stop using that word. You're confusing me. And so I was like, okay, I won't call it hypercarnivore anymore. And what I eat is carnivore-ish, lazy carnivore, dirty carnivore, ketovore, animal-based. I eat the Lillie Kane diet. If I met you out on the street, I wouldn't tell you I eat a carnivore diet. I'd just say I just eat food.
You found what works for you, and where you can see the results that you need and that your body does well on, and that's what you eat. I mean, honestly, it's funny how we go from not really caring about how we eat and our health is horrible to all of a sudden now our way is the only way. And I mean, I think we all do it who have addictions to stuff. Move it on to this way of eating. I know I did. I can only speak for me, right? So like I found myself over the last year getting that way, because I eat beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, minus the bacon a lot, because I know it's blasphemy in this space and whatnot. But just bacon, for some reason, just lost its appeal to me. I could take it or leave it. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I don't. But nevertheless, like I would tell myself, if it's not beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, you can't have it. And then that starts protruding out onto everyone else.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, you don't need that. You don't need that chicken, or you don't need that shrimp. Like, it's okay, you know. So I don't know. I think it's funny to watch the progression of how we, come through those things.
Yeah,
Um,
and then it makes it more complicated. Like for anybody who's new trying to learn about carnivore, then they're like, wait, so I have to eat my meat raw? That's the only way to be a real carnivore? Wait, you're not allowed to have butter because butter is, there's all these different nuances now where even I'm confused. Like, how do I label my YouTube video? Because I don't want to confuse someone because they think the idea of carnivore means you can't have any dairy. Somebody else thinks that it has to be raw. Someone else thinks that you can have coffee or whatever. And like, I just don't even know what to put anymore, but it's okay. We're all figuring it out together.
Exactly, and that's my thing. Like, I would never, like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionalist. I know that you're a health coach, life coach, and you have education and you've done those things. Like, I was a paramedic. That's the only experience I have. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm sharing my experience and what I have learned in my success. I've had some great success over the last year. In reversing type 2 diabetes, lost 245 pounds, non-alcoholic fatty liver. I've had some great success, so I could share what worked for me. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work in every case for every person the same way, but it could, and that's what I try to get out. But one of the biggest things that I talk about, and I got to come clean honestly, because like I love your story about you and Bryce, right? So like how I've watched how you guys, how he basically influenced you and your journey. And so I've been married for 21 years next month.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Yes. And, so I have put things in place over my life that guards that relationship, because my wife is just, I love her more every day. And like, we grow closer every day. We have 2 children. And, I always have made that the number one priority in my life, right? Because that's where my loyalty lies. And so there's certain things that I don't do, and that's like, it's easy for guys, especially in today's society, to be attracted to things, whatever. Nevertheless, long story short, like, I would find that I would not, like, when I would go on social media, I wouldn't watch like girls in bikini, stuff like that. And I noticed a lot of different your stuff, Bella, and you're great people, great content, but I didn't watch a lot of it. Well, here's the come clean part, right? So I went on to the videos and I started watching it. I was like, oh my goodness, like, our like, my heart and the story itself, your journey from the beginning, like all the way through. I was like, it is so much content and so helpful and so much um speaking to I don't know, I guess what I'm saying, the life. And I guess that is my fault for assuming things, and I just want to tell you that going back and watching all of your stuff has really helped me to relate to how I'm doing, want to relate differently to how I'm doing my videos and stuff. Because one of my biggest things on this channel, and one of the things that I try to do the most, is speak to the mental health issue, because I suffered from depression, like crippling, for 3 years, where the couch that I do YouTube off of now, I didn't get off of this couch except for to walk to the bathroom. I couldn't take a shower without sitting on the side of the tub, those kinds of things. And I never went out of the house. I would not go close to family. I would not have any kind of interaction with people. I was isolated. I mean, it was so dark and so deep. And it's easy, even though I'm not even like a very judgmental person, to see something and just automatically write it off. And so I almost feel like I owed you an apology, but I was like, I really, like, when I started learning more about you and like watching your stuff, I'm like, that is like, that could completely transforms the way that I guess you can relate to people. If that does that make any sense?
Yeah. I
And
mean, the it's challenging for like anybody who's creating content, like, to
Mhm.
what do you say? How do you come across? Like, I know that for myself, if I were to say this, I don't make my burgers wrong, or I don't make my burgers wrong.
Yeah.
It comes off as a different tone. So I know, like, even in my videos, I have to look back and be like, do I sound frustrated? Do I sound like I'm a know-it-all? Do I sound annoyed? And so I have to like be careful with my tone. But then even things like, the thumbnail, I spend like a day writing the script, a day filming, a day editing. There's a whole many days invested into the videos, where if
Mhm.
the video doesn't get views, like, I'm trying to help as many people as possible. So if I were to label the video "Eat Carnivore" and it's not like clicky or something, and people don't end up seeing it, they could miss out on really good information. And so, like, unfortunately, I don't really care to put like myself in a bikini all the time in front of the
No,
pictures. But then if that's where the majority of people are like, oh, I need to watch, I want to see what it looks like, what she eats to look like her, which we're not going to look the same anyway. But
right.
then that's what I end up doing. And yeah, then I'm sure people at first glance, she's superficial, she's shallow, she's a rich, privileged girl, and I never even like, if they
And,
knew my backstory, then they would say, oh my gosh, wow, she came.
right.
Yeah.
And like I know, I talked with my buddy Larry. Me and Larry Berquist from Carnivore Quest. I think they were in the show, but nevertheless, me and Larry talk all the time, and we talk about other influencers. Not It's always good stuff. He shares stuff that I don't see, because you can't keep up with everybody's stuff. There's no
Mhm.
way. And um, he's always sharing stuff with me, and like I'll get like I'll talk about certain stuff, and he'll point me straight and be like, "Hey, look, you're viewing that wrong. You need to go back and look at this." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" Like, yeah, you're right, or vice versa. So it's good to have those checks and balances. But like when I started watching your story, and like I can relate in that you not identical obviously, but like you talk about your mom and that situation, and eating, like going to the 99-cent stores and stuff. Like my mom was a single mom and I got a brother, and like I remember us being struggling when we were kids to, the
Mhm.
life of trying to make ends meet. And it wasn't like you know we ate what we could eat during those time periods. There was no just trying to decide, are you going to have shrimp? Are you going to eat carnivore? Are you going to eat keto? It's like, are you going to eat this week
Yeah.
or are you not going to eat? So, I mean, it gets deep. So there's a lot of outside circumstances, but I think that's a good lesson. And, for not just me, but for everybody out there looking onto the situation, don't, don't think that you understand something without giving it a chance and listening to it, because it could absolutely change your life. Um, you know, as far as like how big is community to you, and how instrumental, I guess, do you think it is for this community? Because I try to stress that all the time with everybody, and I know that like your community, the way that I saw it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you're here, obviously. It seemed to me like you had to have that support system outside of family because of the situation, what you talk about with your mom. And I saw like Bryce is like, was that because he led you, it nutritionally and all those things. How long was it between that, and how big is community for you? And how much emphasis do you put on that?
Ooh, great question. So I feel like, yes, I didn't have my biological mom, but I was so blessed and so lucky to have like 10 kind of moms. So it's like I adopted my roommate's college mom, and I adopted, different ex-boyfriends' moms and stuff like that I'll still talk to.
Mm,
So I ended up on Mother's Day, I got like 10 moms to message, hey, happy Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day. So yes, I had to seek outside of my own personal household, but
mhm,
then there were people. I was in track, I was in volleyball, I was
mhm,
in different programs where I could surround myself with like-minded and positive people. And so I think, like, even if someone right now, they feel like there's nobody who understands me, maybe nobody understands you. Well, first and foremost, no one's going to completely ever understand everything. Even my sister and I, we went through everything together. My sister and I, she's going to be the one who understands the most, but even still, we're going to have our different filters. But there's always other resources and people that you can lean on, even if they're not your own personal family. So I found my husband when that had been like 6 years after I had left my mom's house. So
yeah. So like, what I guess the next thing would be like first, because I'm big on this, man. I feel like those of us who have been blessed should bless other people.
Mm.
Those of us who have been helped should help other people. It's
Mhm.
our responsibility who have found answers and made it through, like in my case, the depression, through the diabetes, and found a cure, to share that, because there could be someone at home that, like, of all the success that you have found, what is the one thing that you could share with them that helped you the most to get to that point from where you were?
I would say choose hope over fear, because we're all going to have bad days. We're all going to have bad things happen in our lifetime. But
Mhm.
in that moment, it might be bad, but it's not going to be that way forever. So there's a saying, like, there's always a rainbow after the storm. So you just have to kind of look out for it. And if I would have just said, oh, okay, that's it, I'm just stuck with this terrible situation, there is light. You just have to look for it through the darkness. So
Mhm.
I guess that's my best advice, is that right now things might be a little bit rocky, but that's just right now. This feeling will pass. This
Mhm.
moment will pass.
Absolutely. Well, that's even my motto. Like, you keep pushing forward. No, circumstances are always going to change. Things are not always going to be good. Even in my own journey, like, I see that I know myself good enough to know that, like, I operate in extremes.
Mm.
Like, things will be really good, and then they'll be like really bad, and then, like, it's jumping from one to the other, but it's finding that peace. And a lot of the only way that I found to be able to do that in my own personal journey, and I know it's not for everyone, it's just through my faith through Jesus. That's what I depend on, and in the direction that I go. Nutrition has given me physically everything that I need to be able to function in things. But my spiritual walk and my physical walk go together hand in hand, and that's the two things that I lean on. And I know that everybody else has their own ways of going about that as well. Let's see. So you mentioned coming across Dr. Barry. Can you tell me a little bit about that? In your journey.
Yeah, my husband, he was the one watching all the YouTube videos. He was the one who had watched all the bodybuilding videos 10 years ago, then watched all the vegan videos 6 years ago, and then watched all the keto videos 5 years. So it's like he has been a part of, like, if you name a YouTuber, he will tell you who it is.
That's right.
And so he, like, has watched, like, I mean, he watched like every single Dr. Ken Berry video at one point, or like every single Dr. Berg video. And then he likes to, like, absorb all the information first, and then, like, you want to hear both sides of the story. Let's hear all the meat. Let's hear all the vegetables. Let's hear all the fruit, and little bits from everybody. So yeah, when he initially found keto, that was like 5-6 years ago, he was listening to people like Thomas DeLauer, Keto Savage, Robert Sykes, Logan Delgado, Goody Beats, and Jason Whitrock, the Blood Sugar King. And so these gentlemen were all still people who were able to maintain their physical strength and body composition while not eating any carbs or having little carbs. Whereas in the bodybuilding space, you hear, carb up, bulk, get big. So after he had absorbed the information from these gentlemen who were able to eat a low carb diet and still maintain their physique, and say they were having success with their digestion, their skin, their mood, their sleep, their energy, all those things, then my husband said, okay, I'm going to give it a try. So he did that. And then the keto diet really helped his gut from the years of doing a plant-based diet. But then he still found that even though he was getting better on keto, he was still thinking, I think the Brussels sprouts are causing me issues. I think the cauliflower's not working. And he had ended up finding Ken Berry's video where he talks about that you can get all the vitamins and minerals you need from beef, bacon, butter, liver, eggs, and sardines. And like anybody else, you're like, wait, vegetables though.
Right.
And so
Here, right?
So he just slowly started taking them away and feeling better and better and better. And so that's what he did for a while until his gut was more healed. And now we incorporate a little bit more plants here and there. But that was the initial gun ho. We found the Ken Berry video, watched the Michaela Peterson and Joe Rogan and all those more popular videos initially.
Man, that's how I found about it. I was actually watching Joe Rogan interview Rhonda Patrick, which she doesn't like the carnivore diet or whatever at all. But through that's kind of what led me to find it, because I was curious about it, and I was just in such a dark place that I was grasping for hope and straws and anything else that I could find. How has your YouTube experience, and all that affected? Like, has it? because I know that he works with you with some of your videos, shorts and stuff. Do you find like y'all? Does it bring y'all closer, like stronger together, or what?
So I initially worked with him at Enterprise Rent a Car back in Maui. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. And
Mhm.
so we already worked together. Then I ended up having to quit my job because he ran most of the islands and I wasn't allowed to work under somebody like in the company like that. So then I started an accounting bookkeeping business. So then when COVID happened, I was like, okay, well, you should just quit Enterprise and work with me and let's do this accounting thing. And then I ended up starting YouTube on the side. So it's like we've always worked together and worked really well together from the start. So it's been nothing but awesomeness. And he brings so much of the my channel was not doing nearly as well until he came into the picture. And I think he does a great job balancing. I used to put like super girly songs. Guys were leaving comments, can you make like more like manly songs? And I'm like, rainbows, butterflies. So like he brought the balance of like, okay, let's get a little bit more masculine, but then also he's 9 years older than me. So he's like, let's get a little bit more mature. You're talking to adults here. Stop acting like everyone's a baby or something. Like I like to have like, because of my story, I think I'm like Michael Jackson, I guess, where I became a kid once I was an adult, because when I was a kid, I was an adult.
Yeah, exactly. It made you have to be. So, well, whatever you guys are doing is phenomenal. Is working, and y'all are huge, man. And I love it. And I love the story. I mean, that's kind of. I'm 40 years old, but like I'm a sentimental at heart. Like I'm an old heart, I guess you would say. I love seeing successful, good couples that just hearing that story and hearing the success story and everything else. It's inspiring to me. And I love it, and I love I like the backstory and everything about that. So I guess I should probably move to some like as far as the YouTube. I did want to mention though also that like I'm the world's worst YouTuber, like because I do not research. Like they tell you to research the topics and spend the time on the thumbnails and those types of things, and I'm like, that's all fine and well, but like I'm trying to talk to the people and see what they
Yeah.
want, and do what I like, and make that mix. And you know I don't know. It seems to be doing okay, but like the people seem to like it. And if you don't, you can put in the description and in the comments what you don't like or what you do like, and we can go from there. But you know, and I try to seek advice from people who are successful like you and other people. I'm like, hey, what kind of tips can you give me? I always find that stuff helpful. Where do you see it going for you in the future? You got any plans for 5 years down the road, maybe?
This seems to be the popular question on people's podcasts lately. I'm like, gosh, I need to come up with a better answer, because I'm like, we're just taking it day by day. Like right now, we're in the middle of like trying to buy a home, which is like the worst time ever. I know, interest rates, prices, everything's horrible right now. So we're not like jumping the gun, but we've been looking for like 6 months trying to get a home, trying to get a good deal essentially, which is not really possible right now. But
Right.
yeah, we have just been trying to actually find more balance, I think, in our life. Where like we could spend, I mean, I wake up people think, okay, well, what do you do for work? Oh, you got to make a TikTok today? Poor you. No, I mean, I love what I do every single day, but it is nonstop. Like I start at 7 a.m. and I finish at 9 p.m. every single day, 365 days of the year. I work on Christmas. I filmed on my wedding, on my honeymoon, on my sister's wedding, on my vacations. Like it never stops, but I love it. But so I think like that's one of the things we're trying to do over this next 5 years is like find more balance. I think where, okay, cool, we can stop a little bit early so I can scrapbook or so I can like read a little bit more. So getting more efficient at what we're doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I've been trying to get my wife. Like she's done one video with me or two videos. How many was it, sweetie? Two. Okay, two. She has to remind me, and she's right. Believe me. But Larry asked a question, and I gotta get to that one. He says, "Has Lillie ever had one cup of coffee with Bryce?"
Ooh, okay. So this is a bad one because this is a bad example. I mean, no, I have never had one with him, but recently he ate some. I think he had like something with eggs. I think he had like a salmonella thing or something going on with his tummy for a little bit because like he was like not feeling well, where he ended up like fasting for a few days because it was like anything he was eating was just like shooting out. So anyway, he kept wanting to have his coffee. He kept making his coffee, and we hate wasting food. So his coffee is mostly like this is how much is coffee and this much is milk, and then there's like a little bit of honey. So it's mostly milk. So I finished his coffee some of those 2 of the days here recently, just because we hate wasting food.
Oh, there you go, Larry. I guess I should put it up. I do need to put it up. I'll click it on the screen. How about that? It went away because before I could do it. But thank you, Larry. I appreciate it, brother.
It made me actually tired. I was like, this is supposed to wake me up. I feel like I'm gonna take a nap.
Well, see, I took coffee out of my diet. So, like I said, beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, monster bacon. I took coffee out for 5 months, but then I added it back. But I cannot tell that the coffee wakes. It doesn't work on me like it used to work. Like I can't tell that it wakes me up or it gives me more energy. In fact, I think it's the exact opposite. Like if I don't have the coffee, then I feel like I'm dragging out. So it's like you think it's going to pep you up, but in fact, it kind of suppresses it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking all that, but Dr. Chafee's almost got me convinced by the neurotoxin being in it to cut it out again, but I'm not quite there because I love it too much. I'm addicted again.
Yeah, my husband cut it out for a year and a half. He didn't have it. It was like, okay, I'm doing strict carnivore. And then, yeah, every month went by. I miss my coffee. I want my coffee.
Right.
Just because he wants the taste, not even really letting me use the energy. He has tons of energy. He just likes the experience of coffee. So yeah, after the year and a half, he was like, I'm gonna try it again. Tried it. He's like, I feel even better. Like he wears a sleep ring, an R ring at nighttime, so it tracks his sleep. And he's like, my sleep improved. Like, what the heck?
Right. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, actually, I've been telling people on the channel. I the last 2 nights I slept without my CPAP machine, so I was never diagnosed. But my brother gave me when I was almost 500 pounds. Like I would quit breathing, and the CPAP machine told me like 17 times an hour I would quit breathing. Right. So I would wear it, and it probably saved my life. And now for I don't know how many months now, I have not quit breathing like I was, but I got in the habit of wearing it, and so I just kept wearing it, right?
Yeah.
So my wife said that I still snored, but like we went out of town to my brother's house in North Carolina, which I live in South Carolina. And I forgot it. I left it at home. So I was like, I'm not turning around because I am too cheap to waste 5 cents worth of gas. I'm going to keep going. If I'm out of the driveway, I am not turning that car around. You should have remembered it. Like we're gone. We're not turning around. So we get up there, and I'm like, oh well, I guess I'll just go without it. Just do or die now at this point. And so it went well. I woke up fine. Everything's great. I'm here. So I guess it's okay. But I don't know if it was fear or what it was, but it's funny how that works. I don't know. Let's see here, because you're on West Coast, right?
I'm in St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, Missouri. There you go. Okay. I'm right outside the upstate of South Carolina, not far from where we had so we went to North. Before I get to the question, we're gonna need an Adderall IV up in this place before this show's over. I know it. But so like we went to North Carolina to see my brother for my nephew's birthday, and like a tornado and President Trump was not far from within 10 minutes from where I live at this weekend. So I was like he was candidate Trump, former President Trump was speaking, and a tornado came through and like wrecked a bunch of stuff. And I was like, man, we picked a great weekend to have something to go out of town for, right? I was like, that's like divine intervention.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. That's like one in a million, never happens.
Right. 22 QCat, thanks for the comment. Lillie, do you ever coach lean mass hyper responders? I went full carnivore, and that's how I found out that I am one. It can be hard knowing exactly what to eat without lab values going way out of whack.
Right. Well, I don't. Yeah, the answer is yes. But as far as what the rest of the question would be, I would need to just know more information, like what's your height, what's your weight, what are you currently eating? Are you doing 1, 2, 3 meals in a day? How much fat are you having? Do you have a problem with vegetables? Is there something going on where you can't incorporate some veggies? So there's just a lot more information I need to kind of do better guidance. But yes.
So set up an interview with her. She does good coaching. There you go. Where can they find you? I mean, you might tell them where they can find you as far as the coaching, because I definitely want to give them all the opportunities.
It's just it's linked everywhere on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. There's a website, and then it just has my availability and rates. And you basically just leave a little bit of information for me to like prepare, like tell me why I would chat. And some people are like, oh, I'm having PCOS, or I'm trying to lose weight, or I'm trying to build muscle, or my thyroid's acting up. Just different information to kind of give me a heads up on what we're going to talk about. But then I just kind of drill you for the first 20 minutes. Okay, tell me who you are. What's your background? What's your eating history? How long have you been eating this way? And there's a lot that goes into it. But in general, the advice is just, eat meat and then see when you're full and then stop eating meat. And for many people, I'm sure even including yourself, you're able to do that because when you remove processed foods and you just start eating real whole foods, then you start feeling better, you start losing weight, you start feeling great. But then for other people, it might not be that simple, unfortunately, which is like, dang it, can't I just be like, Sean, come on.
I was so fortunate. If I had tuned in and I heard Ken Berry say that I had to track stuff and all those things, I would have been like, man, I am not doing that. That's crazy. That's like I gotta, and I understand. I get it. Like there's certain people like, and I thought that was very informative. Like when you broke all those things down, because you have a video where she goes in and she's like, how you increase your calories. And I know that's a catchphrase, trigger word for everybody in this space. And I hate the word too. I think it's crazy. I've listened to enough Bart K, however, there's not a better term to relate to what we're talking about if you don't use calories. Right. So I get it, But I was like, I told my wife, I said, I want to see if she could take that 13-minute explanation and put it in 5 minutes, like a process. And I was like, but then again, at the same time, if she could have done it in 5 minutes, she probably, she would have. But the whole concept of that video was phenomenal. So if you haven't seen it, what is the name of that one? I was going to write it down and I didn't. I was driving on the way home.
Exactly how I would lose weight.
There you go. Exactly how I would lose weight. Oh.
And like you said, I'm trying to be efficient. I'm trying to give you like just the information. Boom, get out of here. No no nothings except for the information. And even still, like I had a coaching call like 2 days after that video was posted. And I told her, I said, hey, did you watch that video? She goes, yeah, I did. And I basically just rehashed the entire video with her. And it was like, until I get to like talk to her. Then she's like, oh, light bulb, light bulb, light bulb. I watched the video, thought I understood, talked to you. And now with having 30 more extra minutes to go in depth, now I really get it. So I thought I explained it completely well in my head. I was like, that was perfect. And then now I'm talking to you. I'm like, oh, okay, that's how I could have said it better. And especially with the whole thing too, is I kept saying, 50-ish calories. And meanwhile, while I was doing it, I was like, it doesn't matter if there's like, I'm just meant to say like, have an egg, have an extra slice of bacon, have an extra ounce of beef. Because it's not the calorie number. It's just like, have a little bit more of something. Mm-hmm. And I could have explained that better. Always until I like post the video and then someone leaves a comment. I'm like, dang it, I could have said that better.
Oh, dude, believe you me when I say like it's funny because like a lot of times like I don't think about a lot the likes and the ums and stuff. Like I took public speaking. I have 2 college degrees, and like I've had public speaking, I've had psychology, I've had all that stuff. And public speaking was the absolute worst thing I scored in. Like I barely got through public speaking because I would always go up there and just say, the little catchphrase. I never figured out how to not do that. So you guys are stuck with me with the ums, okay? No, well, I try to work through it. I'm sure to get better. One day, maybe. Oh, goodness. Carnivore Kill. Lillie, if you woke up tomorrow with 150 pounds to lose, what would your meal plan exercise look like?
I want to talk about the exercise part first.
Mm-hmm.
So with the exercise, honest to gosh, and there's actually a video coming about this, but to me, it doesn't matter whether someone has 150 pounds, 10 pounds, or 0 pounds of weight to lose. Mm-hmm. It's what you're eating is going to change how you're looking. Because I used to hardcore cardio, I used to exercise like crazy, and I kept looking the gosh darn same. Because after I do the cardio, I'm eating pizza and chips and brownies. Well, what the heck? Of course, I'm going to look the same. So I would say the exercise part doesn't matter so much for weight loss purposes, though. If the person right now who's asking this wants to lose weight because they want to be healthy, well, exercise is going to be a part of that equation then, because exercise is going to be good for your heart, brain, mood, sleep, energy, digestion, all the things. But I wouldn't ever do an exercise that I hate doing. So if you love walking, if you like doing swimming, farming, gardening, throwing a baby up in the air and catching it, hopefully, whatever your form of getting body movement is, that is what is going to help be sustainable long term. My husband has worked out every day since he was 12 years old. He hasn't taken a single month off of working out. I don't know how he did it. I took a break. I was like, I'm done with this. No way, I'm not doing it. But that's because he never did it because I need to look good. He was doing it because I love this. This feels great. It's energizing me and helps me relieve stress, helps me get through depression, all these different things that exercise can help with. So anyway, we don't have to pick the same form of exercise. Do anything that you enjoy doing. Do it for a lifetime. Because if I say the best exercise for weight loss is stair stepper and swimming, which would probably be my two big things that I would say would help the most with weight loss. But if you hate doing it and you're not going to do it forever, then it doesn't matter anyway.
That's true.
And then as far as meal plan goes, see, this is maybe counterintuitive because I know we're on a carnivore channel right now, but as far as vegetables go, fruits and veggies don't make people overweight. So let's just get that out there. So people will come to me like, Lillie, can I have romaine lettuce? I'm like, have romaine lettuce. The vegetables are a non-issue. So if someone wants to eat meat and veggies, go for it. I say you could have as many veggies as you want until they start hurting your gut. You're starting to have more psoriasis. You're starting to have bloating and digestive distress. You're having blood in your stool. Too many veggies. And for me, I don't really like the taste of them, so I just don't have them. But so it's kind of optional. Veggies are optional, but I want you to be sticking to something sustainable. So if I say just eat ground beef and you're like, can I just have something, Frank's Red Hot, mustard, something? Yes. I would want to eat protein first, and then because it's going to help satiate and keep someone full. And then I would want to, likely if someone has 150 pounds to lose, they probably have some sort of blood sugar issue or insulin resistance. I would want to have fat for my source of fuel instead of carbohydrates, just because it's going to be harder to lose weight if our insulin is too elevated. So I would stick with fat for fuel. And yeah, there's lots of videos where I go way more in depth on like, this is exactly how I would figure out if I know this is what I want to weigh, this is how much I currently weigh, how do I mix and match my protein and fat. But yes, essentially the short answer is doing things that are sustainable for me. Because if I say the best foods for weight loss are liver and beef, and you hate liver, then you may be able to do it for 30 days and lose weight. But after the 30 days, I have a feeling you're probably not going to continue, and then you'll go back to your old eating patterns. So I know that we always just want Lillie to tell me 5 eggs and 2 sticks of butter. Is that what I have to do? But 6 out of 7 people who lose weight, who start a diet, lose weight. So it's like, oh heck yeah, I can be 6 out of 7 people. But over 80% of those people who lose weight will regain the weight within 3 years. Well, oh snap, 80%, that's like the majority. Am I going to be one of those 80% of people who regains the weight? So why are they regaining the weight? Are they doing a diet that's complicated? They have to have a bunch of different ingredients and seasonings, and you got to go and meal prep, and you got to take your beans and soak them and sprout them, ferment them. It takes 3 hours to prep, all that goes into it. So people have a hard time sticking to things that are complicated. People have a hard time sticking to things that taste nasty. People have a hard time sticking to things where when they go out to social events, holidays, traveling, work, if they feel ostracized or weird or it's not going to work, I'm flying in an airplane, what am I supposed to eat? People have a hard time sticking to things, you got to make your diet sustainable. So I wouldn't try to do the carnivore diet. I wouldn't try to do the keto diet. I would try to do the Sean diet, the Lillie diet, the John diet, the Sarah diet, find foods that give me nutrition, fill me up, taste good, and are easy.
That's great. That's great. And I mean, I tell the people on the channel all the time, if you can get your mind right, then your body's going to follow. Like, I think the mental transformation is way more important than worrying about things that you have no control over. You can't control how your body responds to or the speed of how it responds to things, but you can control how you interact with that stuff. If you're not, you can lose weight a million ways, right? Like you can starve yourself, you can have gastric bypass, a gastric sleeve, you can, eat vegan, you can eat, like there's lots of ways to lose weight. But how do you do that healthfully? That was a horrible way to say that. Nevertheless, how can you do that and be healthy and make that sustainable? Because whatever you do to lose weight, or however you're doing that, you're going to have to continue to do that, because if you
Mhm.
go back to what you were doing, you're going to end up like you were.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's, it's a mental thing,
Yep.
So
And I like to think of food like my batteries too, right? So if I put in some junky batteries, I'm probably not going to feel very great. And
mhm.
so what I like to think about is more, okay, is the food I'm going to eat? Basically, every time we put food in our mouth, it has two options, right? It's either going to hurt us or help us, unfortunately. So, but that doesn't necessarily mean that somebody can never have a donut ever again in their life. Yes, a donut's not going to give you more health per se, but maybe if someone is like, hey, it's my birthday or something, and it adds like fun and excitement, and that outweighs the stress of feeling ostracized or something, then okay. But anyway, if what I like to focus on is, does this food give me magnesium, selenium, iron, vitamin A, B12, B6? I mean, all the vitamins and minerals and nutrients. And when you start thinking of your body as like, okay, I just need to plug in different nutrients, and when I give it different nutrients, it's going to operate and function at its best. Cool. I want to eat those foods.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Homesick Buckeye. Unfortunately for me, exercise is eating. This guy. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. Uh, my goodness. So, yeah, absolutely. I we were going, and I guess it's another time to come clean. So we went to, it was my nephew's birthday, so we go out of town this weekend. It's the first time I've really been away or had much of a break since I started the channel back in April, and so we get up there, and my brother, for the most part, does carnivore keto-ish diet. Nevertheless, so at a birthday party, I haven't had very much sweets. This weekend, I had two pieces of birthday cake. Okay, and I never, like, I have had Texas fajitas since I have been eating carnivore, like once a month. I think that makes like the third time my mouth has tasted something sweet since April the 17th of 2022, and I'm like, my whole body feels like I'm in a coma today, like a lucid awake a coma, and I'm like, my joints are hurt. I'm like, I have not experienced this in so
Yeah.
long.
Yep, yep.
But when a kid has a birthday party and he hands you a piece of cake, you eat it. So I guess I can't speak to the not going to the family thing and not, having a plan. I had a plan and I've been on a great plan, but at the same time,
Yeah.
you still have those things, every once in a while. And I'm sure maybe it doesn't affect everybody the same way. Um, let's see here. Anybody? Let's see. Yeah, I know. Marty says, hand in your cards. Oh my
Start
goodness.
over. Now you got to start. Okay, today you're officially carnivore day one.
I know, right? I got to go back to the beginning. And that's one of the things that I found interesting too. Like, I have people on, obviously it's a carnivore channel. I believe in carnivore. Like, I believe that the beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, it radically, because, from the depression, the weight loss, the issues, all my labs are great. So like, that's what I offer and that's what I tell. But at the same time, like, so where did you, how long have you been doing the coaching side of things?
I believe it's been about 2 years, maybe a year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay. Yeah, I actually had thought about doing, some training on that, getting like certified in some nutritional stuff. I looked into some of that stuff, but with time and everything. Um,
Right.
but I mean, at the same time, I think that's important, because there's so many stories. A lot of people who are have been, eating strict, this and that and the other, and trying to find that exact number, because it's hard to tell a generalized number of people here this is going to work for you.
Yeah.
You can give them if you're not working one-on-one with them, it's hard. You can point them in the right direction though.
Right.
Oh, what's Joyce's question? I saw a video of you talking about one-to-one protein to fat and fat for what you want to weigh. Can you explain that more?
Yes. So I think that, okay, so I have like a few different weight loss videos. I think that was one I posted in January. So there's one that's a little bit more updated. It's called Eating Fat Made Me Fat and Then Skinny. I would check that one out first. But as far as what I would it again, like you were just talking about, I have to kind of give generalized information, so it doesn't really work for everybody. But essentially, what I would do is, let's say I am currently 180 pounds and I want to weigh 140 pounds, then I would want to eat about 140-ish grams of protein to start. Mm-hmm. So sometimes people will think that 140-ish grams of protein, so I should say, I would aim to eat my ideal body weight or goal body weight or supermodel body weight, whatever that number is that I would like to be in grams of protein. Now, by grams of protein, I don't mean that you take your chicken and you weigh your chicken on a scale and the chicken weighs 140 grams. No. That's way too little. That is just your meat. But as far as what is the protein in the meat? So, for example, something like an egg has 6 grams of protein-ish. So if I wanted to weigh 140 pounds, if I do the math, then how many eggs would that be? Yeah, well, way more than 140 grams of eggs. But divided by 6, so that's 23 eggs would give me about 140 grams of protein. So anyway, I would start with eating about my body weight, but then I just say the fat number just to keep it simple. Honestly, the fat would be a lot higher, but because I don't know, I can't just say make your fat higher. That's not really helpful. So I say, okay, just start it here. And then if you're feeling low energy, you're not sleeping as well, then you'd want to have more fat. But like I said, there's a more updated video called Eating Fat Made Me Skinny and Then Fat, which more talks about if you had a particular caloric number, which I put up on the screen, your age, your height, your weight, what your rough amount of calories would want to be at. So let's say it's 2,400. You'd want to take that 2,400 number, subtract it from your protein number, and that will give you how much fat would be left over. But then for some people, if they're diabetic or if they have, somebody who just has blood sugar issues, if they sit down and they were to just eat 140 grams of protein in one sitting, they may see that their blood sugars spike and stay in an elevated state because it's just too much protein for them in one sitting. So they would want to always make sure that they have fat paired with that, or split your protein up in smaller meals. So some people, they'd want to just do the one meal in a day. By all means, we can try to make it work. But otherwise, I find people who have blood sugar issues, a lot of them find that they can do 30 to 40-ish grams of protein in one sitting. So maybe splitting that up into 3 meals and pairing that with fat.
Oh, absolutely. And then that brings up 2 issues. My very first video that I tried to make past the introduction thing was explaining that concept. And I go online and I find this website and I made these little flashcards, and it has you can go here to get your recommended daily caloric intake.
Yep.
Then you take this number and multiply it by 0.07, and then you take this number and divide it. And I made the video, right? And then I watched it and I was like, there is no way in the world I am putting this on a channel. This makes it does go through it, and people are going to watch 2 seconds of this and be like, what are
complicated?
I'm like, I'm done. I'm out. So,
yeah.
That. But, and the other thing is even on eating as strict as I've eaten over the last year, every single time that I try to break it down and do line diet challenge for 30 days, I make it about 2 to 3 weeks and it's over for me. I cannot do it. The first time I did, I figured out that it was because of the hamburger patties I was doing on the grill, right? But yet I was draining all the fat when it was on the grill. And so I was literally just eating protein meat cookies, as Kelly would call it. And that was all I was getting. And so I wasn't getting enough fat, and I was just irritable. I was aggravated, and I come off of it. The second time I tried to get smart and leave the fat in, I would add the butter to it, whatnot. Even after that, I made it 11 days, and I was like, if I do not have some eggs in the morning, I'm going to lose it. So I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't cut it down that much. So you got to find what's sustainable. Oh, Italian on Carnivore says, feel tempted to eat more sweets due to the birthday cake. I told you I had 2 pieces. Now, so yeah, I had the first piece, and then I was like, oh my goodness, I'm already jonesing. I went and got another piece.
At least was it ice cream cake? Come on, birthday cake, just plain.
when you haven't had any, I've had sweets in my mouth 3 times. It didn't matter if it was. I'm assuming it was great. I don't know if it wasn't even the ice cream kind. It was just that. I don't know. I don't even know what you call it, but it was. I don't know. My insides are probably rotting out today. My Carnivore card. My wife's holding my Carnivore card for me. She wouldn't let me come on all weekend or get on social media. I was revoked. Oh, I have no idea what you're like. Does snake fillet beat steak fillet?
I've never had a snake fillet.
Yeah, I don't even know. I'm not quite sure. Mike, what's up, man? I train every day. So, like the back history on Mike, this is my buddy. Like he just started his channel. He's on the opposite side of carnivore, trying to gain weight versus lose weight. So like he's trying to put muscle on, but I train every day to try to put on what he says. And progress recently kind of slowed down. Should I add more fats or protein to move weight up again? I eat 2 ribeyes and 6 eggs, so plenty of protein.
Mike, do you have some? Are you? I know carbs are like just as word. The carbs and calories are like the devil words in the carnivore space. Am I allowed to ask Mike? Can you have some milk? Can you have some yogurt? Can we get a little bit of carb in there? But if not, I just think.
Yeah, I mean, ask him what you want to ask them. This ain't the carnivore police.
Like that's what I would wonder. Like,
I'm not gonna argue with somebody and be the carnivore police. I'm not like if there's somebody that wants to eat vegan and that's what you're happy doing. I'm not trying to tell you what you have to do. I'm trying to give advice what not to do and what worked for me. It's got to be your decision. You have to get it, and you have to be and you have to figure out and study it. Don't take people's word for stuff. You study it, and she has an education, and I will listen to anybody. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'm rambling.
The two things for putting on muscle and weight gain is literally eat more and train harder. As in, like if you're doing bench press or you're doing squat, you're lifting weight. You want to do less reps and just heavier weight. So not like a cardio kind of weight training exercise, right? I'm not going to do 14 reps and 5 sets of 14 reps. I want to do just heavier weight, less rep. And if I'm actually pushing it, then my body's going to require more fuel. I'm going to eat more. Those are the two ingredients for building muscle: eating more, lifting heavier. Mm-hmm. Now, the hard part is if someone's like, I am so gosh darn stuffed, how am I supposed to eat more? Well, that's where I would say, hey, well, like, you could have a little bit of carb. It's going to make you a little bit hungrier. Then it's going to make you eat more. Now, if you're anti-carb, then another way to trick your brain to eating more is instead of, I don't know if, Mike, you're eating just like beef, bacon, butter, but I guess you could even still do this with now that I have another idea. But how I get my mind to want to eat more. So if somebody's trying to lose weight, do the opposite. Is instead of having just a bowl of ground beef, if you sit down and you have a bowl of ground beef, you're like, oh, when is this over? I don't want to eat anymore. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you have, let's say, bacon, eggs, cheese, butter, burger patties, ground beef, sausages, meatballs, if you have all these different arrangements of like kind of colors, like I put chicken skins, different crunches, different sounds, different textures, it makes the brain keep wanting to eat more. Mm-hmm. So that's why for the person who's trying to lose weight, mono food, just eat plain ground beef. But if you want to eat more, I will like make little mini burger patties that'll have some ground beef, then I'll have some meatballs. And it's just like this weird trick that our mind keeps thinking, oh, okay, I'm getting something new. And you just keep eating more.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And work out hard.
But so should he add more proteins or fats? It really doesn't matter at that point. Just eat more. So it could be either. But if you start gaining belly fat, like I know that there's a certain point where my husband and I will gain more belly fat if we add too much fat. So that's where you got to make sure you're really pushing it if you're going to be working harder.
Well, and it's hard to overeat protein though. Like I know there are some people that can overeat protein, but like how long can you really overeat protein? Like you're gonna be stuffed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can do it, but can you do it for a sustained amount of time when you're adding fat too? Like it's hard to do that. Yeah. So, well, I mean, from what I've seen, I mean, maybe you know of examples that are different. I mean, like I don't know, like how long can you realistically overeat protein and continue to just overeat and just gain and gain and gain? I mean, like I guess theoretically, I mean, I'm sure if your hunger signals are working properly, that's the other thing, I guess, probably.
Yeah, well, if you're trying to get in more protein that makes you not feel as full, then I would do protein powder because you're going to just digest it faster.
Yeah. But can you absorb as much?
Right. And are you getting any nutrients in the protein powder? Huh?
Yeah. Protein. God. Oh, I grabbed the other one. Hold up. I had it on top of the I think might be confused. Sean lost 243. He didn't gain 243. No, Mike is trying to gain. But yeah, I did lose. I lost 245 actually. I may have lost more, but I haven't weighed in so long because I just don't care. I mean, I should weigh soon, honestly. But the last time I weighed was like the end of May, I think it was, and it was because we were doing a challenge in the private group, and we were doing a weigh in, and I weighed. But I used to weigh every day, but I just don't anymore. Which is crazy because that was my motivator for so long. Oh, let me see what else we got. I know we're getting close to the hour mark, and I know it's Sunday evening. I'm not gonna hold you forever, but like I said, I really enjoyed you being here, man. Like it was really cool. Nathan says, "What are your thoughts on the need to eat at all if you have lots of fat to lose? Did you eat lots, Sean, when losing heaps?" I did actually. I ate. Well, I say as far as lots, yeah, like fat. I personally ate a lot of fat. I added fat. I ate fatty ribeyes. I added butter to everything. That's what worked for me. I added butter to my egg yolks, and I lost weight like crazy. Even whenever I was 500 pounds, or close to 500 pounds, um, you know. So I mean, is it going to work like that for everybody? I don't know, but like it did for me. But if you actually go back and look at the calories, so I eat 4 whole eggs, 8 halves, with a half stick of butter mixed with the yolks, and then I eat a fatty ribeye without the fat trimmed off of it, so it's got like this big chunk of fat hanging off of it, and about 3 or 4 tablespoons of butter on top of that. But I eat those 2 meals a day at like 10 and 2 usually, and that's it. So I mean, if you add up the intake that I'm getting in, that fat probably pushes my daily totals of calories up, and I'm probably still under 2,500. So, I mean, I don't know. It's all kind of relative. Is it a lot of fat compared to the protein I'm eating? Yeah. But compared to the overall meal that I'm eating for the whole day, I don't know. Is it? I don't know. I've worried about that. I've thought about it and I've tried to figure it out. But as long as it's working, I hadn't messed with it, honestly. So, I mean, what do you think about that? As far as the fat, protein, eat fat to lose fat, right? Or don't eat fat to lose fat.
Yeah, I think that weight loss comes from one of two things: either change the kind of quality of calories you're eating. So if you're eating chips and pizzas and brownies and soda, if you can just maybe move to eating whole foods, and you might be able to lose weight just doing that, because now your body's getting vitamin A and D and E and B6 and B2, B3, all the different vitamins and minerals. So some people, they just need to change the quality of their calories, and then they can see weight loss. So they don't have to track, they don't have to do anything. They just eat new real whole foods and they lose weight, and they're boom, that's you. And then there's other people who they try to do that and they still don't lose any weight. And they're like, well, what the heck? I'm eating real whole foods, I'm not losing any weight. And those people, they may have to lower their calories at that point, but not as low as people may think. People think, oh, okay, so I got to eat 800 calories in a day. No. Like I said, there's some videos in if you want to get some more information, then there's definitely some videos that I think would be beneficial for people to check out.
Oh, let's see. Question. I'm dang it. Come on now. I'm nearing 660 OMAD fast metabolism. I switch protein amounts to trick body. Is that still good?
I'm not sure what I'm nearing 660 OMAD fast. Like they've done it for 660 days.
That's a good question. I'm not sure. You're 660. You had to clarify that a little bit. I don't know exactly. Huh? She said yes. 660 days. OMAD fasts metabolism. I switch protein amounts to trick body. Is that still good? Is it working?
I probably would. I'm guessing this person's probably under eating. So then they're trying to switch what they're eating and the amounts, so that way they think that their body's going to be like, oh, okay, now I'm going to lose more weight, which they could probably do that, but eventually it's not going to work very well. So I would really check out. There's a video I just posted like a week ago. It's called Eating it's called Exactly How I Would Lose Weight. And it's going to kind of walk this person through how they can actually lose weight without having to go so low in their food intake. And their body's going to get more nutrients and it's going to feel better. And then they're going to balance its hormones, because, you know, most people don't realize that weight loss is a hormonal process. So until our hormones are more in balance, it's going to be harder for somebody to lose weight. So someone for like yourself, you might be able to eat foods that are going to help balance your hormones. You're eating butter, you're eating eggs, you're eating all the good things with nutrients in them. So your hormones are becoming more balanced. But for somebody else who they're like, oh, okay, so I'm going to eat beef, bacon, butter, eggs, but I'm going to have 1 egg and 1 ounce of beef, and I'm going to eat this little amount of food. Well, that's not going to help your hormones.
No. Well, and too, like there's so many variables, man. Because if I was a type 2 diabetic, I've got that on top of the weight. So like, if I can't maintain my insulin, how in the world am I gonna, how am I gonna start losing weight? With my insulin up and my body fat locked off, and I mean, I don't know. If it were just cut back on the foods, like we're not designed to starve ourselves on
exactly.
you're gonna eat something. So like to me, whenever Dr. Berry would talk about maintaining, eating a meat heavy diet because it's more satiating than eating a bunch of carb filled stuff, like because your body's gonna burn through that more than it's gonna burn through protein and fats. It made sense. I'm like, well, once I started doing it and felt it and saw it, and I don't know. Let's see. Davina Lane, thank you for the super chat. Hi, Sean and Lily. I ate carne piccata today. It was really tasty. 1 protein ratio tastes like a chopped sirloin, 2 pounds. By the way, nice. There you go.
There we go. She's eating.
Absolutely, and that's the thing. I mean, I think what did I have? 2 hamburger patties, and like when we got home, I didn't eat a lot of meat this weekend. I ate some pork belly and something else. My brother like I said, we was at that birthday party, and then after I ate the cake, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to like. I did what I tell everybody not to do. I'm like fasted. I'm like in shame in the corner with my head tucked in, Nah, but so like yeah, the 1-to-1 fat to protein. That's normally what I do because eggs.
Yep, eggs are perfect. Eggs
thing,
perfect 1-to-1. And hey, everybody I'm going to say everybody. Everybody doesn't stick to eating just beef, bacon, butter, eggs all the time. Okay, talk to Sean Baker. He told me he has cake on his kid's birthday. Sean Baker does. Okay, I ate a donut like a couple months ago or something like that. So everybody does it.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's like I said at the beginning though, like it's so funny how we put all these things on us, and like you start thinking that way. And I know I probably shouldn't, I don't like to glorify it because I know there are so many people that I'm trying to help and reach and get the message to that are struggling, and I try to encourage those people because my heart goes out to them. It really does, because there are so many hurting and so many don't know. I didn't know until I come across Ken Berry, and like I would hate for somebody to like, this is your first show and I'm sitting here telling you about cake and you're doing great for 10 days. And like, I get it, man, but understand that we're not all perfect. Yes. And you don't have to do it perfect.
Yes.
I did not do it perfect. I don't know anybody else who did do it perfect.
Mm-hmm.
What you have to do is be consistent. Exactly. Find what's sufficient and jump on, stay on. And when you do slip, because we all slip, you get back up and you get back on track.
Right.
That's going to lead you to success. So my last question that I really have for you, and then we'll jump off, is this: what pushes Lillie Kane at the end of the day? Like, what is it that is at the core of your being when the cameras are off, when you're all alone? Like, what is it that keeps pushing you and drives you?
My husband.
Your husband.
I think I like to laugh. I like joy. I like smiling. And so, like you were saying earlier, you eat vegan and you're thriving. I'm so your best friend. So yeah. I think sometimes even like when I'm creating content, I feel like it's become so focused on like carnivore, and there's so much more to the world and so much more to life than just what you eat. There's social interaction and the sunshine and the animal. Like I see rabbits every day. I'm looking at the rabbits while I'm taking my walk around the neighborhood. I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that. So I just think finding more joy in the day, because even if you're eating a clean, healthy diet and you're eating the carnivore diet, but you are stressed out of your mind and you are pulling your hair out at nighttime, then it doesn't, at a certain level, the diet's not going to change. It's like the internal things that we need to work on. So I think reading books, those are a great tool that I use to help me find peace at the end of the day. We all have stress. We all have things that are going to take us off track at the end of the day. We are just so gassed and we're like, oh, I'm stressed. Mm-hmm. You read some books, find some peace, and then give gratitude for all the things that you have in your life. Because, like, again, you might not have the job you want, the car, the house, the wife, the kids, all the things that you may want in life. But if you can just, like you were mentioning spirituality and the Lord, I like to get down on my knees and just say, hey, I'm so grateful. I have a shirt on my body right now. I have a roof over my head. There are people, I've traveled a lot to different parts of the world. So I went to Dominican Republic. I see people don't really have a roof over their head.
Yes.
Or they don't have food, a warm meal to eat. So I think sometimes we're rushing through life and then we get all frustrated. Oh man, this didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But I'm telling you, 199 out of the 100 things did work out pretty great. So let's just give gratitude and thanks for that, because then it'll end up finding a lot more peace in yourself when you start realizing how many great things you can be thankful for. So that's what drives me. Giving joy and smiles. The more smiles I give, the more smiles I get.
Well, that is awesome. Thank you so much for that. And like, I just want you to know, like, seriously, like you have a fan in me, because like I love like I said, I love seeing success. I love seeing, that message, because I mean, that's like, I catch a lot of sometimes, even off air, from not doing it the way other people a lot of time think that I should, even with the spiritual side of it. I have people tell me, you don't represent, you should be harder about sharing Jesus with people and this and that. And I'm like, back up, time out. Here's the deal, man. Like, I'm not telling people what they should do, whether it's with the diet, whether it's with with Jesus, with your spiritual relationship. What I'm trying to do is represent it and be an example in such a way that like you can see what I'm doing, and it will make you desire that and want that. And if you do, I'm more than happy to share that with anyone. And I'm compelled to do so. And I would love to, but at the same time, I'm not trying to force it on you, because you got to take it for yourself. I too want to see those people who are hopeless and grasping at straws. I want to see you hang on. I want to see you reach for the future. I want to see you. And I feel like my mission has changed from me seeking to lose weight and get nutritionally healthy to my success being judged by how many people I can help with the message that I've been helped with. I feel like that's critical. And, so that's kind of the thing now. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. It means a lot to me, because I know there's a million other places you could be. And I just want you to know that you got a fan, and I want to meet Bryce. Like, I should have been like, hey, you bring him on next time or something. But if he's willing to come, he might be like, who, whatever. Yeah, I got this to do. I'm working out, Thank you. Like I said, thank you guys for being here. Is there anything else you want to say before we get off?
Be good to others and be good to yourself.
There you go. You got the link in the description. If you've been living under a rock and you don't know how to find Lillie Kane, but you found me somehow, you can go to in the description there and find a link to her channels. And I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And you guys stay strong and keep pushing forward. We'll see you next time.